So SharePoint 2013 is, for me, a very interesting and exciting product because it's a chance for us to bring forward a lot of capabilities that we were held back from before. Some of them relate to managed metadata and content management, and some of them relate to being able to do things in the cloud. It's worth noting that Microsoft has been dealing with metadata, in various shapes and forms, going all the way back to the first release of SharePoint back in 2001. And over the time, we've seen the ability to add custom columns to libraries, to be able to define site columns, so we had centralized choice lists, culminating with the introduction of Managed Metadata Service in SharePoint 2010. And I like to talk about SharePoint sometimes as a collection of children of different ages. So SharePoint 2013 is the 5th major release of the platform. But it's not the 5th major release of everything in it. So it is the 5th major release of web-based documents. It is you can think of it as user profiles 4.0, enterprise search 3.0, and it is certainly managed metadata 2.0 inside of there, since MMS at its core was introduced as part of the 2010 release. So all of the different modules and components of SharePoint are at various levels of maturity, and the great news of 2013 is some of the rough edges that we may have been experiencing in the prior release have been sanded off, and hopefully will guide you through a smooth experience today. So what will we be going through today? Let me introduce the key topics that we're going to go through. We'll spend the first module today walking at a high level, at a medium level, through information architecture, how SharePoint implements it, why it matters, and what's the infrastructure that's out there to support and to implement taxonomy, the formalized classification of SharePoint that we're going to be talking through today. Next, we'll turn to looking at the more loosely coupled idea of folksonomy, social tagging, user-driven keywords, and the related functionality began in SharePoint 2010, greatly enhanced with hashtags in SharePoint 2013, and now also available through the cloud and additionally with Yammer. We'll take a look at all of those because they're very different across the 2010, 2013, and Yammer modalities. Third, we'll take a look at ECM and how classification services feed into enterprise content management. It's very important to have our information classified as we enter it into SharePoint, and the taxonomy services and managed metadata help us do that, but classification without a purpose is useless. One of the key things that we're going to drive forward is how do we manage that content precisely, and ECM is the answer to using all of that tagging that we're putting out there. The fourth module will apply managed metadata and those ECM capabilities and look through some advanced scenarios for how to use taxonomy in conjunction with content management for document routing, for lifecycle management, for building out information catalogs. Finally, we'll conclude with looking at wrapping this all up with some guidance for design concepts and best practices to go implement this in your own organization as we move forward.